it working? I think we're in a different spot now. I don't know. It looks like we're over here now. I don't know.
It's got quite a bit of latency to it.
Yo, what's up, guys? We're just trying to get this thing figured out. It's being a pain. I got this other thing going, but I think the latency is kind of weird. Yo, what's up? Trying to see where we can link people to this one. I don't know, guys. Something got messed up here. It didn't want to work on the other part, but it worked. It's working over here. How's it looking out there, you guys? Is it like tripping out? Can you see us? Can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Can you hear Jay?
Can you hear me now?
I'm trying to see how to link people back to the other one. Check the Kevin Shields alarm. Jay, you want to give that a test? Alright, James, we'll see you later. Sheesh, bro. So how are we doing now? I think it's working now. Is it finally working? Oh my god. Can you guys hear us? I think we got it. I can hear it. How's the audio and stuff? We have like a little bit different of a setup tonight. I have a new PC that I built and for school when I go back to school. So I don't know. We'll see. It seems like it was working. For some reason,
audio sounds alright.
It wouldn't connect to the other stream that I set up again, which is really frustrating because everybody was in that one. But it seems like everybody that was in that one is over here now. So what's going on? Good to see you guys. Good.
Yo.
Glad that it's working. Yeah, I shaved the beard, and I cut my hair. I kind of regret it a little bit, but it'll look fine in a couple weeks or whatever. You just gotta get used to it.
What's wrong with it? I think what's wrong with it is you didn't go high enough. You could have made that a fucking full-on starter mohawk.
Yeah, yeah, I probably should have.
Let it gracefully fold over the sides. And
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe next time. Yeah, so I hope this works out. It seems to be a better solution for now. I think a lot with the streaming stuff, my other computer was, I was telling Jay before we started, the hardware of that computer was pretty bad. So, well, not bad, it can't handle the streaming stuff. So this seems like a much better solution.
this camera angle's funny. When I angle my head down, you can see it. There's a gray spot in the middle of my hair for no reason.
Really?
Yeah, like up in here. And you can fucking see it.
Should we lower it, or is it like too high?
I don't care. Gives a shit. There's nothing you can do about it.
So what's going on? How you been, Jay? How's life?
You know, the same old shit.
Matt said it's hotter than a three-peckered billy goat.
Damn.
Not really sure what that is. I mean, I think I can imagine. Yeah, I gotta grow the beard back. Satrin Jupiter, what's up? Warren, what's going on? Bouldering, good to see you. Damn, got everybody checking in. What's going on, guys? Oh, cool, you're going down to Memphis. That's awesome. I think my parents were talking about going there. My mom's a big Elvis fan. She wanted to take a little trip down there. I was trying to help her with the flights. She still doesn't understand how to use her phone and stuff.
Oh.
So, gotta be her real estate agent.
JetBlue.
JetBlue all the way. Hell yeah.
Hashtag not sponsored.
Yeah, I'm like, I gotta bring this up. The big news this past couple weeks or month or week, Jeremy Exodus sent me that. Did you see the Facebook link that Tascam put up recently?
Yeah, I saw your post about it. I didn't click through it.
Basically, somebody in Tascam posted a picture of an old Porta 05, I think it is, or 02 or something.
That's not an 02. That's much this later one.
Oh, maybe 05 or something. I don't really know those models. With
They
like
got
this.
away when they got away from the knobs and went to the.
Oh,
discs.
that's later.
I think so.
Oh, I thought that was
Pretty
earlier.
sure.
Okay, my bad. But anyway, if you guys haven't seen the post, I'll try to I'll put a link in the description, or I could probably link it in the chat right now. Basically, Porta 03. Okay, Porta 3. Basically, they're talking about putting out. Well, I thought Jeremy mentioned that it seemed like they were hinting at the fact that they may be putting out a new cassette 4-track. But I guess if you look at the post, they just kind of say, we're taking a survey of what people think about this, and essentially that post seemed to go viral in terms of the Tascam Facebook page. At least I was looking at some of their other posts. They don't get more than a couple tens or hundreds maybe. This one had like over 2K people checking it out and sharing it and doing stuff with it. So
well, if they bring that fucking thing back, they better set it up for Type 1 or Type 4 tape, since Type 2 is expended.
they should talk to Steve Stepp over at National Audio Company. They should. I think they could package it. This is a conversation that's come up a long time ago when we were talking about maybe doing something with this as a joke, or people were asking us if we'd ever put one out. And I think we had said, well, they could contact National Audio Company and just package tapes with the 4-track. I mean, that would be cool if you got a 4-track and it came with a couple tapes from them. It was biased for their new tapes. Like, I don't know. I was just curious what people thought about this. I mean, I think they would be crazy not to try to capitalize on the cassette wave nostalgia, and also just if you have that many people into the idea of it. I would hope that would be going into production like immediately. What do you think, Jay? I'm gonna find the post.
I mean, from a nostalgia standpoint, maybe it would be worth it, but sales-wise, I mean, I think most people at this point for home recording have sort of settled in with DAWs, so it would be a step maybe in the wrong direction from a capital venture standpoint, but I don't know. I mean, what's the worst that happens? They'll sell them. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean.
4 cents.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think that's accurate, man. I don't know. It just seemed like I think they're also kind of far into the. It seems like a lot of people still use like the digital multi-trackers too.
Yeah.
But it might be a cool idea for a video coming up though, like.
Well, what it would
green
do.
features of it.
What it would do is make that technology available to people who can't get their hands on a decent working machine as is.
Right.
You know, if you have 5 4-tracks and you can record, 9 tracks between them, it would be better to just go and purchase a brand new one, wouldn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
Rather than milking your way through a session with half working shit, or patching it back together and putting new belts in it and doing all kinds of bullshit all the time.
Yeah. I think it's a cool prospect, I think you're right. If they could come out with one that's more resilient, or just a newer one that would work.
Well, I think it's got to be biased for whatever the most available tape formulation is currently. Because if Type 2 is on the no-fly list, basically, at this point, then
The no-fly
you
list.
fucking got to go somewhere. It's either Type 1 or Type 4.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. I think that's where they could easily partner with somebody like National Audio Company, who's the only tape manufacturer in the U.S., I think.
Yeah. But even for vintage cassettes, it's really easy to get a whole brick of Type 1s or Type 4s.
Oh, okay.
Type 2s get gobbled up if they're stock to begin with,
Yeah.
But there's no reason that they couldn't bias those machines and, build a new head that could withstand like the Type 4 chromate formulation or whatever the fuck.
Well, that was
You need
something.
to bias it hotter. You need to, make the head wear resistant to that material. That's really about it. So there's no reason they couldn't do that.
Yeah. So Tascam, if you're watching this, or if you're still taking a survey of what people think about it, I would say that's a pretty good assessment of, at least in terms of the tape. What you could do for that, and Yeah, I don't really know too much about the technical side of it. I think that would be the biggest bottleneck to this project would be, weren't you looking into this at one point, Jay, and you saw that, where you just maybe knew that there's only like one factory that even makes cassette heads anymore? Cassette deck heads?
I don't remember if it was one, but I know that the stock on brand new tape heads, things that are being produced, is very low. They make them for dictation recorders, and most of the heads that they make are mono.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if there's somebody still making mono heads, though, that means that same factory could re-equip and create new dies and make 4-track heads again.
Right. Oh, okay.
So same shit.
I thought it was like the ship had kind of sailed on this stuff. I wasn't sure that it would be.
Well, I don't think they're making them anymore because there's not really a call for them.
Right.
And what they do make are generics.
Mm-hmm.
You buy a mono cassette tape head, and it has elongated holes, and hopefully it fits whatever you plan to bolt it to, because that's what there is.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I don't know. I would hope that it would be possible to do it. We got a couple of guys saying make it a limited run, test the waters. New Tascams would rule. Stefan, what's up, buddy? Matt has Type 2. Restore classical music. You can find brand new sealed Type 2 for less than 50 cents. Wow, that's awesome. Oh, Satrin said, just want to say you're doing God's work with those demos. Thanks so much. I've been having so much fun with my 424 Mark III. Awesome. Glad to help. Glad you're happy recording, and yeah, just glad the info's helping. That was a big reason to started doing the stuff on the channel. It's like the info on it, especially demos about how to do certain things with it, was never, too available or clear. So I always wanted to, well, not always wanted to. I just started putting some info up, and I'm just glad people are getting use out of it. And yeah, happy recording. That's fucking sick. So thanks for watching. Appreciate you. What else? I don't know. I guess, is that the end of the, Matt, that's a good point, Matt. He said, I bet the quality of new 424 wouldn't compare to our 15 to 20-year-old units. Yeah, I mean, I think if it had the quality, though, of like some of the newer stuff they've been putting out, it wouldn't be half bad.
the problem is that when your 424s from 15 or 20 years ago were made, that was the top of the technology. The technology is hundreds of times past that now.
Right.
So if they were going to design a new unit from the ground up to run cassette, I'm sure there are new implementations of, microprocessors and all kinds of things they could throw in there to, use DSP to fight tape hiss and do all kinds of shit. And I'm sure that would filter its way in there.
Yeah, if they could figure, if that was something, that'd be a cool feature.
I think they'll try to one-up the original technology.
Yeah.
And that's probably not a good thing.
Well, isn't that kind of always the same, it's funny that came up too, because that always seems to be the same, just the same story with anything that's kind of like an anniversary edition or a redux and deluxe version of something. It's always tried to be improved upon, and improving it, you may lose something of the original.
Yeah, well, when you throw all the new technology at something like that, I mean, it's bound to make it a vastly different product.
Yeah. I think it would be. I think it would be cool though.
I'm sure it would be interesting.
And I think they could sell them.
Could it be?
I think that's the whole big thing that they would probably, because that was the thing. I posted it and said, because Jeremy was like, oh, it seems like they're hinting at a new Tascam, and I wrote that, and then Tascam actually replied to it and said, no, we're just taking a survey and seeing what people think. So it almost seems like whoever posted that was backpedaling a little bit, or maybe I just misinterpreted what the post was about. But I'd say your survey was a success. And
well, let me ask you this from a marketing standpoint: why in the fuck would you survey anything that you didn't intend to follow through?
Right. I think what happened was they may have they seem to post some pictures, old ads from time to time from this era, and I think, like I said, essentially that picture for their Facebook page and for the amount of like engagement they get with their stuff, essentially in my mind it went viral. I'm not saying viral, it had millions and millions of views, but if you made a post
but in the scope of their page.
Yeah, I don't think they were expecting it to have that sort of
Right.
response, and that's kind of my impression. So, I don't know. I don't mean to be building up the hype train with being like, yeah, it's like hinting at this thing. Like they could have no plans to make this, but I thought it was an interesting discussion because I think they should want to make this and make this happen like sooner than later.
But I would be surprised that if it happened, because like how many engagements were there on that post?
I think it was like 2K or something.
Yeah, so
You know, for a page that gets like usually tens of people engaging with the stuff, maybe hundreds, depending.
right, but out of that 2K engagement, 1% of those people are potential customers.
So 20 people.
Yeah. So they're, probably not.
Yeah, I mean they seem to have their focus mostly on podcasting at this point. I mean, if you look at their Instagram, it's all just like how to podcast today.
Yeah.
And I mean that makes sense because that's probably their biggest user and fan base or whatever. But I don't know. If anybody's out there that knows how to build a 4-track or would want to do something like that, I would say if you could make it happen, I think it would be a successful venture. But at the same time, I think Jay is right in being realistic and saying, well, like you said, out of those 2,000 people, how many people will actually pull the trigger on it?
I really think that statistic is roughly 1%.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I think you're definitely right.
So,
But a fascinating little blip on the radar of 4-track and on the hobby. Like that's pretty interesting for something that's kind of been buried in the past. Cassettes are becoming more and more popular as the years go on in terms of people buying them and putting them out for their bands. And that's I wanted to make me and Jason making this cassette tape series to help out with that. But I don't know where I was going with this thought, but I guess it's just interesting in terms of. Yeah, for a recorder that's, essentially has 20 years old and hasn't been out. And they've obviously moved into digital recording and
oh yeah, big time.
mobile recording and stuff like that. But, kind of an interesting topic, I think, in terms of possible, maybe not probable. Kind of interesting that they backpedaled a little bit, I thought, or just like, no, this isn't like a thing that's happening. So, I don't know, but... Maybe we should start a petition. I was joking with Gil on that Facebook post. What is that called now? It's like petition.org or something.
Oh,
You can start.
yeah, I get those all the time.
Oh yeah. Matt said they also asked who'd be interested in a new one with USB and SD.
I mean, but with USB and SD, that basically is their digital multi-tracker platform, but with a cassette added to it.
Yeah, right. They're what they currently do, but with the yeah.
And you somehow stuff a little transport in there, and I don't know.
Yeah, who knows if it even can be done? Some of you guys are saying like in terms of the quality and getting the quality up and the cost down, and it might just be too expensive of a thing to even try to do. Maybe it wouldn't make sense, but. I don't know. I know a lot of people on this channel would definitely. I would definitely buy one, obviously, to use on the channel. So maybe that's one guaranteed sale. I don't know. How do you think companies roll with that? I mean, you've had some experience with that. Like, how do companies decide whether they're going to go forth with a product or not?
Usually, you get your prototyping done, and then you get your first sort of like, beta batch. And you shop that beta batch out for the sort of the trial and testing, trial by fire, send it off to people to use it, and you take that feedback, and based on that feedback you decide if there's any changes to make or if it can go to market, or if everybody you sent it to hated it, then you're either starting over or you're killing
Scrapping it. Yeah. I just wonder, like, at what point do companies decide, like, this is something we should do, let's do it? Do they need, I really don't understand how it works. Do they need, like, 1,000 sales, 10,000, 100,000?
I think with companies like Tascam with their sort of podcaster line of stuff, I would almost bet you that most of those products, anything new that comes out is based on legacy technology. So it really doesn't matter to them. It's the same technology in a different package with more feature set. You drop it on the market. If it doesn't do well, you leave those units floating on the market. You pull the product from the line and do something else.
Yeah.
You know. I think that's pretty much it.
Okay. Yeah, I just wonder like what it would take for them to actually seriously consider doing it. You know, that could just be a, oh hey guys in the office, oh hey I put this up, look what happened, and that's the end of it. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
Probably.
They got like the one old guy that's there from when the company actually made tape shit. He's like a custodian and shit. He thinks it's a good idea. But yeah.
I think there's a lot of interest in the hobby. I mean, from what I see, like people talking about it. But yeah, I think these are all really good points.
But I think what will happen is, or what could happen is that you could get. Have you seen Mara machines? Do you know what that is?
No.
So Mara is a tape machine company that basically buys like wrecked out, vintage parts machines.
Mm-hmm.
And then they rebadge and rebrand them and build them back up under their own logo. They're right on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
MARA machines. So if somebody did that with cassette, that might be the way forward for, 4-track stuff.
Somebody kind of repurposing them. Or...
Yeah, because when Mara does it, they're basically making a new faceplate for it. Like most of it's in yellow.
Oh, okay.
But they're based on, Studer and Ampex machines and,
Oh, wow, okay, yeah, let me see.
See what I mean?
I think I might be able to, let me see here. I got this new program, let's see.
Hopefully it doesn't have a meltdown.
No, I don't think it will. We'll find out.
What is that?
Oh wait, it doesn't look like it's working yet. There's a way I could put what I'm looking at on the computer onto the live stream so people can check it out. What we're referencing, but it looks like it's just a dark window. It's not really working out. And we don't want to have any issues, right? There it is. Nothing. Okay. Anthony said, "Channel has ignited my passion for the Venerable 4-track." Awesome, Anthony. Thanks for watching. Appreciate you. Glad that it's reinvigorated your joy of recording and recording with your old 4-track. That seems to be a lot of people's. A lot of people seem to find that when they check out some of the vids, man. That's really cool. Glad to inspire some new and some revived tinkering. And he's also picking up a Mark II, 424 Mark III tomorrow for $100. That's cool. Ooh. Yeah, that's a good deal, dude. Congrats. Yeah, Matt, I love one, but no, I'm not willing to spend anywhere near what I know our needs to cost make nice. Yeah, good point. Alright, so I guess that's a good bookend to that convo then, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Cool. Alright, what else is on the docket for tonight?
I don't know, you had like a whole header for the stream
let me check out the
didn't survive.
Stream. Okay, yeah, so we're basically trying
halfway through that.
Yeah, we're trying to do this monthly, I'd say, right? At this point, we've got some other projects we were working on this month. Jay and I did some recording together. That's something I want to talk about was your new live setup at the studio, and then what you've been doing with Surmiser.
Well, the live setup at the studio is basically the setup I was using before without isolating.
Right. But what was the impetus for you to start? Was this just an experiment? Did you want to start recording just Surmiser practices? Because it seems like a really cool process that you have down now.
Got tired of cell phone rehearsal recordings, basically just picking up whichever instrument or the PA, whatever they were closest to.
Oh, that's right.
It was hard to hear certain elements at certain times, so kind of figured if you're going to rehearse in a fucking studio, you might as well utilize the recording facilities.
It's a good
So
point.
that's basically how that started. I don't know. The drums are almost always mic'd anyway, so it was a matter of positioning sort of room mics so that they weren't in the way of pedal boards and players and mic and cabinets.
Cool.
Pretty simple.
So just trying to isolate as much as you could.
Using the null patterns of the microphones to isolate as much as possible. And you heard the individual tracks. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like a whisper of guitar and bass
Yeah.
in those overheads. So
I know. That's what I was blown
Works
away
pretty good.
by that. And, I just thought it was really cool that now you have, well, I guess my other question was, were you expecting it to sound as good as it did? Because you said you basically, I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to have cell phone recordings anymore. And then it seems like you went to the opposite side of the spectrum because you guys were thinking about recording.
well, I think we're probably going to make the next record that way.
Yeah, because like you could almost use, or you could use what you recorded.
Yeah, if there weren't so many fuck ups in it.
Right. Well,
Most
that's
of them
still
mine.
really amazing though, like that you'd be able to. I don't know. I don't really see a lot of bands working like that anymore.
I'm sure there's a lot of bands that work that way. They just work in spaces that are so gigantic that there is no bleed, there is no cohesion between the mic signals, and they're overdubbing the shit out of everything that they play anyway, so you wouldn't really know it even if there was bleed.
Right. I just that's
Bleed
what I was.
shows up as little ghosts here and there because your original pass, is different than your final pass, but I think probably if we make the record that way, it's going to be a matter of tracking everybody live and maybe like putting a second guitar layer on it and putting the vocals down separately.
Right.
And I think I'm going to do those through a PA.
Cool. Like you're talking about putting a little edge on the vocals.
I think I'm going to put I have a 50s Allied Knight tube PA head. Lives on a shelf in my house. Yet another thing that never sees the light of day.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
You haven't, I promise.
Oh, it's in your house, not the
Yeah,
studio.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's like it's kind of like a champ circuit with a weird EQ in it.
Hmm.
I got it that way, I recapped it. That's all I did to it, put new tubes in it. It's pretty interesting. And now I have so my mom went to a yard sale last weekend, this past weekend. She sends me actually I'll show you the picture. She sends me a text. Let me find the text, I'll show you exactly what it was.
She was like cleaning up or something?
She went to a yard sale and found a pair of turntables, old turntables. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I probably should have had her get the turntables also, because I bet they would have been interesting. One's a web core, I don't know what the other one is. But anyway, so beyond that, they had this box of shit. Look in that picture. That's a tape splicer, a head demag, 2 original glass vial cleaning kits, and an Akai reel-to-reel mic.
Whoa.
$5.
Whoa.
And the Akai mic works.
Wow.
So I think I'm going to use that for the...
Is that a new dirty old analog episode?
Maybe. So yeah, it came with a Robbins tape splicer, a hi-fi stop-o-matic, so I don't know how the fuck that works, but...
It has all the original boxes too, that's
Yeah.
really cool.
2 TIAC cleaning kits, which became Tascam.
Hmm.
There's 2 glass vials, one is cleaning solution and the other is some kind of oil. And a wood-handled cotton swab. And then, the head demag.
Hmm. That's
And
fucking sick. We gotta do a little J doc on that.
And an Akai ADM-6 dynamic non-directional microphone. So I plugged that microphone into my beta lead. It was fucking ridiculous. It's so cool.
For vocals?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh my god, it's a rugged fucking sound though.
Huh. I gotta check that out. Like
as soon as I plugged it in, it went, oh!
Yeah.
Like, whoa. Pull the master down on that.
I mean, that's always the trick with vocals through that, especially live. It's like, how do you get them?
Oh, I wasn't doing it live.
Right.
It was just, but I definitely would cut vocals either with that or with the. I think that little PA head makes more sense because I could drive the shit out of it and it won't be, you know.
The PV?
No, the.
Oh, the one at your
Allied
house.
Night.
Yeah.
It's a little aqua blue teal metal cabinet. It's pretty weird.
That would be sick.
It's one of those things somebody owed me money and showed up with a bunch of shit.
That seems to happen to you a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that constantly owe me money, that's why. That's what happens. That's alright though. I like barter and trade. Some of the stuff I keep, some of it I don't.
Yeah.
But I made an adapter socket for that too because it has an octal preamp tube. Uses a 6SL.
In the mic?
No, in that
Oh, in the
little
PA.
head. It uses a 6SL7 octal bass preamp tube. And I wanted to see what the circuit sounded like with a 12AX7. So I got an octal bass and I wired a 9-pin socket into it so that you could plug a 12AX7 into that same socket. It's all made with like silicone and shit. It's pretty interesting.
Cool.
Some tubes squeal and take off, but others sound really good in that. So all depends. But I think that'll be the way to do it. I'll run it through some real wacky fucking super tight old shit speaker and that can be the vocal sound. That sounds about right.
Dude, that sounds awesome. Please document that somehow on the Instagram or I'll come through. That's a good segue.
We're gonna shoot another music video too.
Oh hell yeah, man! I'm totally down for helping out if you guys need a hand.
Yeah, and I got a guy who. So I was selling a bass, like a beater bass.
Not the one at the studio, was it?
No, different one. One that I've had for a long time that is like on permanent loan here, there, and everywhere.
I got one like that.
So it came back, and guy I knew was looking for like a starter bass for his whatever female domestic partner. Is that politically correct? Sure. So he came by to pick up the bass, and he played it, and then he's looking at the barn. He's like, "Man, this barn's fucking awesome." And he goes outside. And he's like, "Man, this property's fucking awesome." He's like, "You think you would ever let me shoot video here?" It's like, "What's in it for me?" So I might get him to shoot some 4K in exchange for using the property that I live on to shoot whatever
Awesome.
strange things he decides to do. So
That's fucking sick.
it's all about the swaps, man.
Yeah.
Getting money out of that dude too is like almost impossible. So that's an easy way to correct things like that.
4K footage, like that's pretty sweet. You must have like a pretty nice camera.
He's got a lot of crazy fucking equipment and shit. Audio equipment also. He works for one of the broadcast houses around here, and that's like not only his job but also basically his central hobby. So
That's awesome. I'm checking in with the chat real quick. Yo, Cold War nerd, what up? Thanks for that email, by the way. Oh yeah, Matt's doing some collabs with Brian, my buddy Brian, that I did the live stream with. I went down to New York this month at one point and we did like a jam. He's looking to collab with people, so if anybody else is looking to collab, Matt's going to be doing some tracks with him. Matt's talking about a digital cassette chain project, because I don't know what happened to the cassette chain project. But yeah, if you want to collab with Brian, check him out. Yellow Rainbow is his channel. I thought he may have been here tonight, but maybe not.
I haven't seen him come through yet.
Oh yeah, I mean, he usually, so Brian has like his own business doing like guitar lessons and teaching kids piano and stuff, so he's usually not around this time of night. But I was talking with him. I gotta get him on the podcast maybe or something. I was talking about maybe doing a couple more episodes of that, a new season of that. But he was asking me, he's like, oh, I wish I could be playing out more, playing with people, collaborating with people, making more music, and pretty much like 9 out of the 10 things he mentioned, I was like, dude, you should just start a channel. You could collab with people. We could play live on a live stream. That's kind of almost the same thing. You're playing to people. Rather than lug our stuff around New York or meet them down in New York to play, we could just, play from the comfort of our apartments. And so he's doing, basically, long story short, is he's making his own channel now about like ambient stuff and jams he's doing. And one of his things on his checklist is to collab more with people. So, if you're interested in collabing with that sort of ambient synth music, I would definitely hit him up. I think his email is yellowrainbowmusic@gmail.com. But yeah, so that's pretty interesting that he's going to start doing some stuff. I want to get some more stuff with Brian going, when we can. The only thing is he lives in New York, which is a little bit far from here, but when we can get together, it's a fun time. So, but yeah, so that's what's going on with Brian. Matt's going to be doing some stuff. I'm excited to see their project. I think it's going to be called Yellow Palms, right? Matt had a good name for it, I think. It was a combination of Yellow Rainbow and Reverie of Palms. Yeah, I don't know. What? Oh, Jason asked, any updates on the J docu-series? This was my idea for the J docu-series. I was meant to follow Jay around for a couple days and do like a little documentary on Jay. What I'd like to do is make Dirty Old Analog, that episode we did on the 388, an ongoing series where that'll kind of be like the Jay evergreen docu-series, if that makes sense. Rather than do one long documentary on Jay, which I guess could be fun too. But I figured that's kind of like the vibe I was going for.
It's going to be some fucking strange days for you if you decide to do that, I'm telling you right now.
I also have a bunch of B-roll from that day too that I've been needing to use for something too, but I mean, that's definitely a plan. I mean, Jay and I just got to figure out when we can do that. But I was thinking
me around while I cut grass and shit too.
Yeah?
You want to get like the full story?
Yeah, maybe we'll get the full story going. I mean, I don't know, Jason. Jason was kind of the big impetus for this, so I mean, I guess he could let us know what he'd like to see more of. But that's what I was hoping to do with Dirty Old Analog, was more of like, have it more of a Jay, documentary on Jay and what he does. And I think I achieved that. I was really happy with how that came out.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting.
It was fun, and it was cool not having to be the subject of the video, because a lot of times when I'm doing stuff, it's obviously...
Well, some of that footage, I think, was when you left the room.
That's right.
I was just like talking to the camera, wasn't it?
That's right, yeah. I had to like bounce out of there for a minute, and then it kept going. That's right, yeah, I had to edit it all together.
I was in the room by myself, just like looking at the camera for a while. Well,
training you, man. Training you to start your channel.
I just got to get the editing shit.
Yeah.
We're close.
And that's what I think was cool. It's like so much easier when you make videos like this too, to just have somebody else be like the subject of it. Sometimes it's tough. Oh, it's fun, but it's you got to kind of wear all the hats. This is kind of like I can just follow you and make a cool video about what you're doing. So it's like it kind of it's a couple less jobs to do. So that's always cool. So yeah, that's what I was hoping to do. More of those. If Jay gets any more gear like that. Maybe that could be an episode, like talking about your new vocal sound, That could be fun. What you're using for that. That box of stuff, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, the box of stuff is pretty interesting.
Yeah, dude. Like I feel like those boxes in there, that's like even like does it look like they're from like what, the 60s?
I would guess probably late 50s,
or yeah, they look
maybe
like
the mid 60s tops.
Madman-ish, yeah, like stuff.
We'd have to look and see when TAC was originated, because that I don't know.
That's really cool.
But the cleaning fluids coming in metal topped glass bottles.
Wow, that's pretty wild.
With TAC stamps on them.
Hmm.
So that shit's fucking OG, and there's still fluid in all of it. It's never been used.
Wow.
I'm kind of afraid to open it, but might not seal up again.
You should send a pic of it to TAC or Tascam, whatever the company is now. I bet they don't even have they probably have an archive photo of it or something, but
maybe.
I don't know if companies do that. I mean, if I had a company, I think I would do that. Like,
I'm sure if I posted that on my Instagram, I could get them to like regram it.
Yeah. It seems pretty cool, pretty rare.
I think Cold War Nerd said more of my world.
Alright.
Yeah, I mean, you'd literally end up riding around on mow days and things. I don't know how much fun there is in that, but it might be interesting. Who knows? I do see a lot of like turtles and snakes and shit, so that can be kind of fun.
Jay's World.
It's a lot of fucking, a lot of deer and ticks this year. Ticks are big.
Yeah, dude. What's up with that?
I had 9 on me total this week so far.
Oh my god.
Just crawling, not dug in, but.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I've had, like,
Well, that's because you've been
crawlies all
going
week.
really. You've been in like a lot of grass and stuff, right?
Yeah.
I luckily haven't had any yet. I've been doing a lot of walking.
Well, you gotta come into my world, man.
Jay's
Follow me around
World.
for a day.
Jay's World.
Fucking.
Excellent.
Like, followed me around for one day, got fucking Lyme's disease. Jesus.
That's the real
You
documentary.
have to sign my waiver to come out on that trip.
Oh man, that would suck.
That would suck.
What? It's just like the weather this year. Like what? Like it didn't kill them off or something.
I think, yeah, that's what I heard, is that it didn't kill off last year's stock like it usually does.
Yeah.
Usually, like, decimates their populations, and it didn't get cold enough to do that this year.
That's what I heard too. So
And they're fucking brutal, dude. Like, one trip around my backfield walking on the paths, 4.
Oh my god. And you're like
4.
on a path.
Yeah. But I always walk out to the fringe. If I walk single file, somebody's got to walk in my cloud of smoke then.
Oh, okay.
That's not nice, so I'm going to walk off the side. But, yeah,
Crazy, man. Yeah, I've heard that from a couple people already this
it's bad.
season. Yeah, and it's just getting started too.
Yeah.
We're not even in like the
No.
bulk of summer yet. We're not even in summer yet. Crazy.
No, they're
Crazy.
fucking brutal. But thankfully, all the ones I've found have been wood ticks, and I haven't found any other tiny ones. Like, they usually show up once they're in and engorged.
Yeah.
The little teeny deer ticks.
The bullseye.
Well, any of them could theoretically give you the bullseye, but the strongest carriers are the deer ticks, and they're
The little ones, right?
yeah. It's like if you put like the tiniest little speck of dirt on like your skin. That's what it looks like.
Oh my god.
And until it gets enough blood in it to make it physically swell, that's what it looks like. So you won't know it's there until the red spot develops where he is, and then he blows up.
Right.
But all I do when I get one stuck
I just
in
felt
me
like
is
that on my foot. Now you're freaking me out, man.
I pull them out. I work them out. Don't leave any pieces in.
Nah, it's the bite.
And then I just take a Sharpie and I circle wherever the bite was,
Mhm.
and I just watch it for a couple days because Sharpie takes a while to wash off and wear off.
Yeah.
And you just watch it.
Jay's World.
You know.
Jay's
Whatever.
World.
I watch people on Facebook all the time say, "I found a tick crawling on me. Should I get antibiotics?" And people are like, "Fuck yeah, get antibiotics."
Really?
Like, dude.
And what do you got? Like 24 to 48 hours before it's like an issue if it bites you?
If it doesn't bullseye, then theoretically it's not a problem.
That's fine. Yeah.
That Lone Star tick's a little scary. That's the one that bites you and fucking makes you allergic to meat.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
That one's weird, man.
Is that real? That's real.
Yeah, I mean, that's what the scientific reports say.
It's a vegan conspiracy.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, so if you're just joining us, the channel is, we're going to be switching formats to a conspiracy driven, I don't even know, conspiracy only channel.
I'm trying to think of, like,
Submit your conspiracies at 44recording@gmail.com.
what things do I do that might be interesting for you to follow me around on realistically?
Well, that day was pretty cool. When you were fixing the gear at the studio, that was really cool. I don't know. We'd have to. I think we need a story. What's our storyline for Jay's World? Like if we just had like a thread that went through the whole thing. Well, I feel like that's what's cool too. Is I could just show up and just document what's going on for a couple days, and then I'll cut it together, man. We'll put it on the editing room floor and see what comes out. Because I was thinking about doing that with my buddy Sean too, because he's like in a pretty interesting spot creatively. He's been making his movie, but it's kind of like bankrupted him. So he's kind of like went from, I don't know, being successful in his field to kind of like still successful, but now he's in a completely different place. So it might be I was thinking like as a creative documentary on what he's been up to would be funny. So maybe that's something else. So there's like a story there. So maybe we could wrap Jay's World into some sort of overarching theme or story. Which I thought Dirty Old Analog was a good theme. Because that's kind of
Well,
like your
I mean,
vocation.
I guess it kind of depends on what it is that you want to cover. Because while that is one of my standard vocations, I also end up working on a lot of dumb shit and wiring people's fucking houses and painting things and pressure washing and
Yeah.
cutting fucking grass and I mean there's like a million things that happen.
Yeah.
So I mean it really all depends on. I guess if you want to keep it like audio and equipment centric, then not following me around on non-audio days probably makes good sense. But you can follow me to places like, you know, the music stores and stuff and watch me be an asshole to store owners and things.
Yeah, I thought I mean, the story about the recent acquisition you were telling me before, that's pretty cool. $300.
Which thing?
The recent acquisition by the store that you do some repairs for.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. You got Trainer YBA 1A, Bassmaster head, Dan Electro DM25 piggyback 112 tube thing, and Ampeg Zephyr, which is a 1960. It's got freaky early Tolex on it and shit. Uses weird tubes too. It's got EL37s in it, which is...
That's pretty weird, right?
Yeah, there's a voltage regulator tube in it, which is really odd. Yeah, it's got an EF86 in it, which is... I don't know, whatever. But yeah, so you got all that shit though for like $300.
Wow. I can't believe, I mean, that's just goes to show there's still good deals out there.
Oh, dude, the problem is getting the access. There's tons of gear out there waiting for you. You just have to have an inroad somewhere. Or, you know, this time of year is great for it because...
People are cleaning up.
Yeah, people are tired of looking at shit all winter, or people died over the winter and now they're cleaning out houses and,
yeah,
you know, basements and barns and shit. It's the time.
It also seems to be something that happens if you own like a music shop or like a storefront, because now that you mention this, it's also something I've heard from other store owners and people. They say,
yeah,
you know, people just show up with stuff and it's like, this was my husband's, he passed away.
Yeah.
It's been in my house for 10 years. I'm just looking to move it, or I just don't want any money for it. I just want it out. Maybe you can do something with it. Because that's funny because I didn't make that connection. It's like usually people who have stores, if somebody knows you have a storefront, and also just people who are looking to make a quick buck.
Yep.
You know, hey, I need to make I need $100 to pay this bill. I need $500 to pay this bill, whatever. They can go bring something, you know.
Well, if you need 500, don't take it to Alex because you ain't getting 500. I don't care what it is.
Right. Okay. So maybe the 100 was the better analogy.
Yeah, that's
but
more.
Like, you know, somebody's looking to make a quick buck will be like, hey, I found this amp, or hey, I had this amp. Will you give me $100 for it? And like in this situation, you're describing what, $2,400? You were saying $2,800 worth of stuff.
Yeah, I think that's probably a pretty safe ballpark.
And you picked it up for $300. Like that's unreal. That's like an eighth of the cost if it's, I don't know. But anyway.
But I mean, you know, then he's got repair fees in 2 of them, and those fees are low. So he's like,
he's looking pretty good.
Well, he's less than 600 into that lot of amps at this point, so he'll make plenty of money.
Right.
But the market on things like vintage, you know, those kind of vintage pieces is a lot hotter than it is for, you know, modern amplification stuff. You know, he's got a whole store full of that stuff and it sits there. Mm-hmm. Every once in a while somebody who's desperate buys one. But for the most part they're looking for funky vintage whatever stuff, you know. Mm-hmm. That was the other, that'll be an interesting topic too.
What's that? So
this past week he had a Black Star amp that he had sold, came back on warranty.
He's like do you have to be like a dealer for that?
Well, he is a dealer for Korg products.
Oh, that's like under the Korg banner.
Yeah, so there's no warranty repair around here for that. It's got to be shipped out. So his sales rep was like, oh, why don't we have your amp guy do it? So I called that guy up and I was like, look, I don't want to do this. I'm not interested at all.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to tell you what my criteria is for me to be willing to even consider accepting taking that on. So I gave him my list of demands, and you know, it was like, I don't have a real retail space, and I'm not going to get one. I'm not going to hang your fucking banners. I'm not putting it on a credit term. I'm not putting it through tax or any other bullshit. I'm going to take the things that are broken that come in, I'm going to fix them, you're going to send me a check for that. End of story. And the whole thing was like, oh yeah, no, totally, that'll be no problem at all, yeah. I said, good, well send me the PDF of all your requirements then. And I get the PDF and it's like, must have retail space. Please send photo of retail space. Like, yeah, fuck you, dude. So Korg USA can fucking suck my ass, how about that?
Wait, so...
Hashtag will never be sponsored.
I'm not sure if I follow that. So basically he was just trying to get you to fix it?
Yeah, he basically was trying to get me to sign on as one of their fix-it guys so I could handle that repair and whatever comes behind it. And he was yesing me up and down on the things that I wanted to get me to sign.
So how was he going to make that float though then?
I have no idea.
He was going to just maybe just hit
I have no idea. I got I got the PDF. I read the PDF. 5 seconds later I sent him an email. I said, that's going to be a strong and solid no from me. The end. Not signed.
It's funny because I knew that story could go one of two ways, and that wasn't the way I thought it was going to go.
Which way do you think it's going to go?
I thought you were going to go, because you started off saying, hey, funny story.
I thought it was kind of funny.
And now I'm an authorized Black Star repairman.
No. Nope.
That's how
he's like, well, they have Vox. So he's like, he's like, well, somebody like you, you know, we could hook you up with Black Star, we could hook you up with Vox, we could hook you up with Black Glass. Right off the bat. I was like, yeah, I'm not interested in working on any of those products. And he's like, yeah, but the Vox stuff, I mean, we have the hand-wired AC30. I said, yeah, I've been inside of those before. Don't even, that's not a hand-wired anything. Don't even.
Because that's kind of the issue, right? Is there like the circuit board? Those are all circuit board.
Cheap Chinese fucking garbage, man.
But like,
all of it.
They're also like small, like circuit board.
Well, SMD components.
SMD, that's what I was trying to say.
That's the Black Star stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's all SMD. And that was one of their criteria in their thing too. Is like, must have a such and such SMD rework station. Like, I'm not buying equipment to work on your garbage. Send me PC boards. I don't even think so. Not gonna happen.
That's crazy, man. I just don't understand that guy's logic. He's just basically trying to get you to do it.
Well, I think what happened is Alex told him that.
Maybe Alex would just do all that stuff?
Well, Alex would. Basically, what he said was that he would have me fix that amp, and then Korg would need to send him a check. He would pay me directly, and then Korg would have to send him a check.
Gotcha.
And they were trying to avoid that at all costs because it's outside of protocol. But so in the end, what happened is tomorrow the Korg guy's coming to town again, and he's gonna have to pick up that warranty return.
Wow.
And take it someplace. Because, like I said, Korg USA can kiss my ass.
So what do they got to take it to, like a guitar center or some shit like that?
I don't know where to take it.
Well, there's probably somebody who has like. There's nobody in the area that does that, huh?
Not. He said not in the territory in which I operate.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that means. But yeah, no.
How long did the person have this amp before it shit the bed?
3 months. But you gotta understand. Like, people go out and buy this, I think it's like I want to say it's a UB250 Black Star bass amp. It's like super lightweight, 115, you know. What that company is using in that amp is the same kind of thing that a lot of companies are using in their amps. There's what's called an ICE module. And the ICE module is a Class D power amp on a circuit board this big. It has the power supply with power taps to feed whatever your preamp design is. So you design a preamp that fits in your chassis. You give it a 12, I think it's either a 12 or 15 pin connector. Once that connector plugs into that power amp board, your preamp now has power. There's signal going to the power amp, and you're done. It's all right there.
So it's kind of like a cookie cutter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Great Eden, Black Star. There's a ton of them that use it. You can go right on eBay and buy that module too. Like if you look up the Ice Power module, you'll see what I'm talking about. If anybody gives half
Ice
the
power
shit.
module. Yeah, that's, I love the true that.
They're made in, I think, Sweden.
Yo, let's check it out, man. Ice power mod. What's going on, chat? Are we still live?
The chat is like fucking. It died. I started talking and it just died.
Yeah, I don't know. Everybody must be tired. Oh yeah, here it is. Ice power module. Crazy. Class D. That's it.
Yeah. Yep. 50 by 2, 125 by 2, 250. And I mean, like, you look at the 250, the sponsored one.
Yeah.
Dude, you want a 250 watt amp module to put in something, like, that's $53 plus free shipping to build you a 250 watt amp. You know? And that's, like, retail. Which means those companies are paying probably $5 a piece for those modules and selling you a bass amp for $500 or whatever.
Yeah.
No way.
Well, that's how they're doing. That's how they're all doing this today, man.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about that before I came on stream. I was talking to my friend this weekend. We were talking about just like throwaway culture, you know, and like where we're at today in terms of, something breaks and, you know, like this little remote. Well, that's not a good example, but something breaks and you just go and you just like rather than buy. Perfect example, printers, right? Well, this is off topic, but I'll thread it back into our convo. So with these amps, it's like they just kind of expect people to buy them for 5 years and then just trash them once they break. Is that like the new idea? Planned obsolescence.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
It seemed like those old Fender amps, for instance. You'd get them. I've heard stories where
like the hot rods.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or even those Silverface that when they came out with them like a couple years back, they all had a 5-year warranty.
Mm-hmm.
And there was tons of people that said, like the day after 5 years,
Yeah.
to like the day, it would just like completely break. And I don't know, you know, I'm not saying like again, now that we're becoming a conspiracy channel, we got to start covering stuff like this. But I guess what I'm saying is like, I was thinking about this because my parents and their parents are like the Great Depression. It's like children of the Great Depression, people that lived through the Great Depression and like had like a different sort of value system. And we've seen it's been really good, and at least in the States, for a long time now, people haven't really seen it bad, right? But so I guess my point is like, I guess this is the crux of what I'm meaning to ask you and anybody watching this is like, do you think just like value and do you think just like money and products just don't hold the same value as they did? Or do you think it's been a complete cultural shift of like what is valuable and what
I think the consumer is underinformed as to what it is that they're buying. They are sold on the wow factor of the claimed output and the shine of the package. I think the companies know that. They build cheap with planned obsolescence and planned dumpsterization of their products. That's why it's all made out of particle board and junk shit.
Just shit, yeah.
It's basically the biggest and most obvious con game there is. But modern day, nobody really wants to spend any money on anything that's quality, so it's sort of, they go for the cheapest thing that'll make whatever it is that they play loud.
Yeah, I know, it's an interesting discussion, man. It's like,
It's fucking dumb.
because I mean I've always been somebody who's seen the value in, because I mean you worked on my amps, and I had the other techs in the past, and I've always had amps. I've never purchased a new amp really. I've had hand-me-down tube amps, luckily, and then I've always sought tube stuff that was from the 70s, 60s, figuring the stuff's been around for 40 years, chances are it'll be around for another 40 if you take care of it.
Well, the funny part is that, all these companies have done their modern reissues and whatever, those reissues sonically pale in comparison to the thing that they're supposed to be an exact replica of. Because they're building them out of the cheapest components they can possibly stuff in there that will survive the showroom floor.
And that's what you're saying. It's like a cosmetic thing.
Yeah,
The wow factor.
and
oh wow, this looks exactly like a '60s.
yeah, until you crack until you pop the fucking hood, and it's like, where there should be like a small block Chevy, there's like a fucking Fiat engine or some fucking, some horrible thing. If you put a chicken heart in a lion, it's still a lion.
Right.
But it's got a fucking chicken heart, and that's what they're doing with these reissues. You're putting, basically you go buy like a, I don't know, whatever, Fender Deluxe reissue, the Blackface Deluxe 65 or 62 Deluxe or whatever the hell it is. When you pop that thing open, the guts of that look nearly identical to what's going on in a Hot Rod Deluxe or a Blues Deluxe, or it's all based on the same shit. It's garbage PC boards, garbage parts. Where was I going with this?
I think we're just talking, having a general discussion about planned obsolescence. Value.
But in that case though, that's the customer getting duped by the
cosmetics.
The cosmetics and the aesthetic of the thing. Right. It looks like the one my dad had when I was, a kid. So it must be the same thing. Well, you just paid $800 or $1,200 or whatever it is for, about $100 worth of shit that's gonna last you for maybe 5 years.
And that's where the disconnect for me is having too, because does that mean that it's not that the item itself is worth less, but it's that it's kind of like the candle has been burnt at both ends to the point where the price is still high, but what's inside of it is just complete trash.
The price is high, what's inside of it is shit. But the consumer...
Because that's what I've been struggling with.
But the consumer won't spend that money if they think that anything about that package is inferior compared to the original.
Yeah.
So you can't let them know that in any capacity at all. But, 2 years in when...
3 months in when Black Star has to call up
that's a whole other
an
thing.
independent tech to fix something.
Well, I'll give you an example. Somebody that I work on stuff for routinely had a Fender Twin Reverb reissue, right? The 65 Twin, I think it is. Nothing but trouble. It was at the tech that they used before. It was at that shop for, longer than it was in their rehearsal space. She got fed up and thought that it was the tech's problem, so it came to me. I had it 2 or 3 times because it kept doing the same shit. Finally, I fixed it one last time, got it to hold, and she traded it in. And she got a Hot Rod Deluxe, brand new, still had the hang tags on it. 3rd show, it went down. 3rd show. Now, this is not a person who's necessarily gentle or handling their gear in a, gingerly way, but 3 shows. Well, you better have dropped it off a fucking loading dock, like full blast. But no.
It's crazy.
It blew 2 plate resistors, and it had a filter cap that was already starting to leak.
And it was brand new?
Brand new. Well, Fender likes the Illinois caps, and the Illinois caps are prone to leakage. Premature. That's part of my bulletproof hot rod thing.
Yeah, I know that.
I sent you the blog stuff, right?
Yep. Yeah, you should drop the link to the blog.
I can't even remember what the fucking link is now.
I forget. You sent it to me on text message.
Hold on.
Oh, Matt dozed off. Yo, Matt, did you get the package I sent you? I sent Matt out some stuff. I was wondering if he got it. I'm assuming he did. I don't know what you guys are talking about. Oh, Matt said he got an old Radio Shack mic similar to yours from the 80s. Oh no, it looks similar to SM58. That's cool. Maybe it is.
Could be. Sure used to make stuff for them all the time.
Oh, we got Art Vandelay. What's up, George? He says, what's your opinion on the Behringer / TC Electronics stuff? They're putting out a bunch of products for cheap. Are you getting what you pay for? Great question. Well, I know there's a couple people in the chat that use Behringer TC stuff, and I think they dig it. I know Matt is down with it. I actually did a video about just like the kind of like the race to the bottom of the Behringer stuff. I mean, I think Behringer basically owns their own campus in the Chinese like manufacturing district in China, so they're able to like really cut costs of their items. I personally have never really had, the only thing I've ever really had is this baritone speaker, and that's, the quality seems good. It's my main thing I use. Probably use it once every day to do things with if I'm listening, or just to test stuff out. So the quality of that's been good. I don't know. I've never had an issue with that stuff. And I've heard kind of like both ways. I mean, I think it's cool that they are doing some products that are. I guess that's a whole different discussion. Like the fact that they kind of steal products from other companies, or isn't Behringer is basically like a Mackie knockoff when it came to mixers, correct?
Well, that's as far as I understand it. That's actually where they began, was in the
With doing that.
in the mixer market. But yeah, everything that they sell, everything they've ever sold is a copy of somebody's something.
Right. So I mean, I think with stuff that's like out of print, like these old synths that they're kind of redoing, I think that's cool because they're making them available to a younger generation of people. I can't really speak to the quality of it though. Do you have any? Have you ever had stories or issues, or do you fix a lot of that stuff?
Behringer is Bugera.
Okay.
And
there are a lot of stuff.
They're
Tribe
parent
Music
companies
Group, I think,
for a bunch of things, but
because they just keep acquiring stuff too.
The build quality on most of it is shit. But with their products, for the most part, you don't see as many premature failures on things. You see cheap parts and whatever, but
seems to last.
Yeah, I mean, most of it holds up pretty good. The tube amps, though, like the Bugera stuff, the first thing that will happen to you when you own a Bugera amplifier is you will burn up basically every tube in it until you finally replace them all. Because they're like not even re-rolled. They say Bugera on them. They're somebody's factory seconds or maybe even thirds. They're shit right out of the box, right in the head, right when it comes to your house. They're garbage.
So not necessarily, they don't use necessarily the most quality components then.
They do not.
So
and the Bugera stuff, they don't want you to know what that is, so they use like black PC boards with black solder masks, so you theoretically can't trace it.
Yeah.
But
because Art is asking, are you getting what you pay for? I mean, I guess I'd argue that with that stuff you are getting what you pay for, because
I think you are getting what you pay for, because you can get something that's a clone of something very expensive for less than a quarter of the price usually.
Yeah, and it kind of threads that. I keep saying thread. It kind of walks the line of like something that's good and cheap. I think we've had that discussion. It's like the fast food idea. You can have it fast, good, or cheap, right?
Yep.
Pick two out of those three. And I think the Behringer stuff kind of seems to, at least in my experience with it, holds that. And you got to wonder too if that company's able to, obviously depending on the company where it's from, but a lot of manufacturers do some of their manufacturing in China unless it's an explicit USA based company. But with some companies, then competitors, you got to ask, which I think this is probably the best thing about Behringer is like, hopefully you'd see them driving the cost down of some other companies. It's good for us as the consumer to have a company like Behringer dropping prices on certain things, because you got to wonder. I don't know. I always wonder personally as a consumer. It's like if they can drop the shit. I mean, obviously they have a different situation in China. Like I said, they have a campus, and they own all these different factories. They make all their own parts, but at the same time, if they're able to make a fucking analog synth clone for whatever the price of it is, and yet there's ones that cost, 10 times the amount, 20 times the amount. I mean, obviously, depending on where they're made, you got to just start asking yourself some questions, because what's the markup on some of this shit? It's like when you go into a clothing store, let's say the Gap, for instance, if you shop at the mall. Does anybody shop at malls anymore? I don't know, but
No.
that you go in there seasonally, and the stuff is, when you first get there, the T-shirt or a sweatshirt will say, and it's $50, and then, by the time that season is over, you can find it in the discount section for $5, $8, $8. So it's like they're willing. Like, you got to ask yourself, like, they're still making money on it, obviously at that cost. What has changed about the product other than the season? It's still as good as it was when it was first there. So I guess my point is, if they can charge that much and also charge that little and still make money and still be in business, I don't know. Kind of one of those things about consumerism and stuff that I don't know, think about sometimes.
Well, yeah. What you have to consider also is that most music retailers are figuring on about a 30% profit margin. So if you're buying a Behringer mixer for $300 or whatever from Musician's Friend, and they marked it up 30%, Behringer was already making plenty of money, 30% down from retail.
Right.
So how much did it actually cost them to make that mixer?
Yeah. Right.
Nothing. So who wins in the end? Behringer.
Yeah.
I mean, he might be a happy consumer, who knows, but. So Warren, to get a good blackface sound, what amps would y'all recommend, if not the deluxe reverb reissue? I don't want to be that guy and just say a blackface amp, but
Yo, what's up, Andrew?
I think if you're looking for a blackface clean sound, you're definitely going to want something that has a tube rectifier, and you're going to want something that sort of sticks to Fender circuitry. The deluxe reverb reissue you could get away with if you take it to somebody and have them do some bulletproofing work on it, so that it doesn't die on you like in the middle of every rehearsal you ever play.
Yeah, I mean,
Get those groove tubes out of there and throw them against the wall so you don't accidentally put them back in again. Get the Illinois caps out of it. Upgrade the plate resistors, and you'll be on the road to having something that might survive you.
so that's what the deluxe reverb reissue. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'd also recommend. I mean, I feel like you can still find, like, the amp I have. It sounds awesome. The Super Reverb, and it's like there's a transition year model to 68 drip edge one.
Mm-hmm.
Has the blackface guts, but it's a silver face. I would recommend trying to find a Super Reverb, honestly, if you're a strong person, because you can find a fucking million of them online and get one for probably, I don't know, $7, $8, $9, $1,100, depending on where you get it from and what the condition is. And people don't want them necessarily as much as they want something like a deluxe or a Princeton or a Champ.
Yeah.
And the thing sounds fucking great. I mean,
But the hurt in the market for real deluxe reverbs is why you ended up with things like the deluxe reverb reissue.
Right. But I mean, I guess because of Warren's.
I would say like the most broad spread Fender amp at this point is the Hot Rod Deluxe in a semi-modern build, like from the 90s to now. I don't recommend that either, but if you're going to buy one of those amps, I would have somebody bulletproof it for you so that you can actually use it and enjoy it and not have to worry about its reliability.
Right.
I'm not one of those people that really believes that the PC board changes the sound. There's slight variations in the stray capacitance of the signal path between point to point eyelet boards really, and PC boards, but what is important is quality components, and that is not what you're buying when you buy that amp. So
Yeah, I mean, how much are those amps? How much do they even cost?
I don't even know.
That's why I would take that and put it into something like a Super, personally.
I would guess that those are somewhere between $1,000 and $1,200 if you bought one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, man. I would go for try to find a less desired.
Well, here's the other
vintage
thing.
Silverface or blackface.
Here's the other thing. Don't get caught up on the war between blackface and silverface either,
That's a good point.
because it's a stupid fucking war. It's
Try it
driven
out.
by fucking people who don't know anything that just exist on forums. Yeah, if you really want to shoot out like a blackface and a silverface, I invite you to do that, and then please give me some sort of actual technical report on what the sonic differences are, because I bet you can't put it into terms. And you know, CBS made some changes to the silverface stuff, especially later on, that deviated greatly from the blackface, but most of that stuff can be fixed with a set of wire cutters in about 5 seconds. So
Yeah, it's easy to get them back.
yeah, it's really easy to modify the silvers to be identical circuitry to the blackfaces too. But
We had a couple. I wanted some big note. These are pretty funny in terms of the Behringer stuff. Cold War nerd said they had a Xenix 502. It got Jaeger dumped on it, a liter of Jaeger, and it still works. And then Matt right after said, I had a little mixer that had hot chocolate dumped into it. A lot of liquid spilling into these Behringer mixers. I love it. But yeah, sorry Jay. Was that the bookend of the black end, the blackface discussion?
yeah, I think so. I'm just trying to read through here. Matt, I have a question. I was thinking about shortening all the wires in my amp. Think that will help clean up the sound. I also have a massive choke. Is it worth putting that on the B+? Isn't there a choke in your B+ supply already? I was pretty sure that was part of that whole setup. Should be between your plate supply and the screen supply on the power tubes. If it's not there, there'll be a 1K resistor or something there. And that you could remove and probably replace with that choke depending on what its specs are.
Yo, David, what's up, man? He said, nice buzz cut, Jay.
Thank you. I mean, shortening the wires reduces stray capacitance. It also reduces the chance of noise pickup and shit like that, but look in some of those mid-70s Fender amps with all the fucking spaghetti wiring, and you can find plenty of pictures of those on Google and see if yours is any worse than that. And if it's not, I wouldn't worry too much about it. Chopstick things around until the noises go away and you're probably alright.
Fingerless, what's up? Thanks for coming through. They asked, has anyone listened to Ween's early 4-track albums recently? I'd be interested to hear thoughts on how they're getting some of those sounds. Do you have any familiarity with Ween's discography?
Which are the early 4-track albums?
I think the one that comes to mind from that I think of is The Pod. Have you ever listened to that one?
Yeah.
I mean, for me, like when I
My
listen,
favorite one is the Mollusk. I sort of always going back to that one.
is that 4-track? Is that
That's ADAT.
yeah, okay. I think if I'm thinking of the right one, The Pod is that one that has like I think Stallion Part 1, Part 2 on it. And I believe it was recorded on a 4-track. I don't want to listen to that stuff. I think you can also hear it like in a lot of their later stuff that's digital or ADAT. I think a lot of what they use is actually the pitch control.
Probably.
Based on like even just for like vocal effects, because they do especially those sort of vocal, with Ween songs there's always like vocals where yeah, and it's like they change the pitch of
sure the
Dean's,
songs,
or is it Gene? I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Gene maybe I mean he has a killer voice, like such a great singer, just such a great singer. I mean when he's actually singing, but I mean, I would say messing with the pitch control on vocals and probably other things would garner you similar results to some of the like whacked out sounds. As to what some of those sounds are, I'm not sure, but I would say they kept it pretty simple based on like interviews that I've seen with them.
We're also at 9 o'clock, by the way.
Oh
10
shit!
after.
All right.
Warren, the Fromel kits.
Lots of phasers, yeah.
You could do a Fromel kit. Mojo also makes kits that are decent, that are clones of plenty of blackface things. You can select all kinds of options and select which things you want to do yourself and what stuff you want to provide on your own, and there's a million ways you can do that. The Mojo kits seem to come out pretty good. The Fromel stuff, from what I've seen, comes out okay. That always, of course, depends on the builder, but you know.
I'm an anecdotal evidence kind of guy. Oh, Fingerless said Godweed, Satan, The Pod, or Pure Guava. You know, I'll have to listen to. I've been wanting to do some videos on that exact thing, like trying to recreate sounds on albums. Because that comes up a lot. So keep in touch, and definitely going to be hopefully doing some stuff with that soon.
David, those Silvertone, the Sears, whatever amps, Airline, Dan Electro, all that shit. If you can find those for dirt cheap by you still, send them down. Because after I put like a 3-prong cord and a new filter cap in it, my local music store sell those for about $800.
Whoa.
Warren, you can email me if you have specific questions about any of that stuff. I could sort of help you scope through things. If you're looking at kits for that.
Alright, cool. Do we find some in Montreal for $150 Canadian? That sounds pretty good. Sounds like a pretty good deal. Pretty good deal. Are there any? We're probably gonna be closing up shop here in a minute. Are there any? Jay, what up with that?
Hey, what's up, Tad?
What, Tad coming through? What's up?
Man. Just had Tad master.
Wasabi gents. What's going on?
I had to master up the record I made with.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Anton, whatever.
So it's Anton's solo stuff, or?
Yeah. So the guy that's playing drums with us now sort of came into my life as a recording client. He's a drummer that had written a bunch of songs on bass guitar and wanted to make a record in that fashion. So we worked on that record on and off for a really long time, and he finally whittled down that he wanted, final mixes and to master 5 tracks. He's going to do it as an EP. So last week we finally got all that in motion and
Dope.
pulled the trigger on it, and Tad sent back some kick-ass masters on it. And
That's amazing.
it sounded mean already. It sounds meaner now.
Awesome. When's that coming out? When can we hear it?
Not sure. I would expect it'll be on Bandcamp once he figures out what he wants to do for some kind of artwork.
Sweet.
So
Excited to hear that. Yo, good to see you too, Tad. It's been a while. We haven't seen you come through in a while. Glad to hear everything's going well.
yeah, he was telling me that he Tad, I think, isn't it your own quote, robust, thick and chewy, wasn't it? Didn't that come from you? Yeah. What was I just about to say? Oh, so on the phone with Tad, though, he said he had switched over to PreSonus Studio One, and I was thoroughly confused by that. What? So now I still haven't researched it yet.
It's a new. It's like a new.
It's
DAW.
a new DAW, yeah.
Now does that come with? Because I know like some of the. I guess it. So are you using like a PreSonus digital recorder then?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's just the DAW.
Cool. I didn't realize they made like a. I thought like it was because I know like sometimes they had, DAWs that come with certain devices.
Sure, like Mackie Traction and shit.
Sure. Yeah, because like Cubase used to come with
Everything.
stuff. Yeah.
Everything that wasn't Mark of the Unicorn or
Yeah.
UA. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So.
Adam, what's up? Thanks for coming back. Yeah, we're still out. We're still chilling. Still gelling.
Yeah. 13 minutes past the mark.
Well, we started a little late.
Yeah.
Sorry about the technical difficulties, as always. It's like, I feel like this, but
Yeah,
it
he's
seems
using
like,
the UAD Apollo with that. So.
oh, sweet. All right, I'll have to
Yeah.
look into that.
Sounds good, Tad.
All right,
Appreciate
Tad.
you stopping
Yo,
by.
thanks for coming through, Tad.
And thanks again for those masters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if Tad left already, but did he, Tad, have you ever used Reaper before?
We talked about that.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. I feel like he said that he downloaded it, but hadn't. Yeah, I think that was the conversation. It was like a real quick thing. It was like in between 45 things and wanted to touch base with him. Yeah.
Yo, Backwood Gus, what's up? Long time no see. Have you seen the Fender Champ 25?
From the early 90s.
No, I've never seen one of those.
Hold on, I'm gonna, if it's what I think it is, yes. Let me just look it up.
Is that like one of the Rivera era ones?
Hold on a minute.
Solid state. And then David said Reaper installer is 10 megs. Nice.
Yeah, well, it's open source code.
Yeah, I think when I have some extra time one day, I'm gonna mess around with that because I was looking at I built a PC. I don't know if I told you guys. That's what we're streaming from right now because I need one. I'm gonna be going back to school actually. But so far it's so good. The hardware. I mean, this has been holding up. The stream looks like it's been doing really well. I mean, I think on this end it doesn't seem like we've had any dropouts or audio or video issues, so that's cool.
So this is not the amp I was thinking, but let's see.
Oh.
So the Fender Champ 25 is a solid state and tube hybrid combo amplifier from 90, looks like 2 to 94. I think that's right. Let's see.
So I'm assuming it's 25 watts based on the name.
Yeah. So no, I don't know much about that one. I could look up a schematic on it, tell you more about it, but anything Fender makes that says solid state on it, I don't know that I would bother with. Let's see, Champ 25 SE schematic.
Capro in
It's
the
a great
house.
place to start.
What's up, buddy?
So that amplifier has a schematic that looks like it belongs in a hot rod.
You gracing us with your presence.
So that amp actually, is this the right fucking thing? Yeah, Champ 25 SE. Output is a pair of 6L6s fixed bias with a cathodione phase inverter like the Princeton's used. It's got a really fucking weird drive stage before that cathodione though. And then a whole bunch of solid state shit. Effects loop, channel switching, reverb, fucking contour control, which is a disaster that PV created in the late 80s. Kind of interesting though. And what else we got? Yeah, so basically this is a solid state front end with a tube power section. I don't know if there was a specific question or if you just wanted me to
I don't know.
give
Maybe
you
just
any
that we-
info
if
I
we'd
had.
seen 'em, yeah.
So there's a single 12AX7 in this thing, and there's a pair of 6L6s. And that 12AX7 is a gain stage and a phase inverter, and the 6L6s are the power section. Set up in basically the most standard Fender arrangement you could ever ask for, push-pull. I don't know why they called it an SE, that's kind of funny. SE would be single-ended, which a push-pull amplifier is not. Solid state rectified, so it's got no fucking sag to it. Yeah. So there you go. That's what I now know about that amplifier.
Oh, David said he started Reaper as a way to go between PC and Mac, and he's been using it for 2 years. That's awesome. Oh, we have Matt's requesting a turret board for a Vibrochamp. If you got time, Jay, you guys should talk probably via email.
I mean, I could knock that out. If you just want the board, you're gonna populate it.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah, I could probably do that this week. Send me an email, remind me.
Yeah, I want to try that out. Hey, Brewbaker, what's up? Cheers from DC. Thanks for coming through. Jason's asking what he missed. We've been talking about some amps. Tad came through.
Champ 25 with no SE.
Champ 25.
Well, let's see what that is.
We were talking about Ween before. We do have a Jay, what up with that question? Whenever you're ready.
Yeah, shredder guitar players.
Yes.
I don't know what's up with that. You know what's even more confusing about people that play that way is the fact that they can play all those fucking notes, but they can't play rhythm guitar.
Here's the other thing that I think is crazy about it. It's cool that people can play like that, but
it's really not even like sweep picking. Like
my thing. I'm not trying. I don't want to like
alienate anyone.
Yeah, I'm not trying to like say. I mean, if that's how people want to play, like more power to them. Music is completely subjective.
Learn to play in a fucking band.
Personally, I'm into songwriting, and I find that people who, you know, usually have played a million miles an hour like that. They don't really know how to like put a song together. And to me, I think what makes music great is great songwriting. Whether somebody's playing a million fucking notes or 2 notes. You know, that doesn't really get me going, honestly. But actually, yeah, this is a Jay, what up with that question? Why am I?
Oh, you can run with that one. Go ahead.
Yeah, I guess that's my main thing. It's like I like people that can write good songs, I guess. And I've found personally over my years of playing with people that usually can shred are not great at writing songs. And like I gotta say, I'm not great at shredding. So, you know, I think I focused mostly on becoming a songwriter, writing songs. And not so much on the technical aspect of, you know, playing a million notes a minute. So to each his own. Some people focus on whatever they like the most about music, and some people like playing 100 notes and flexing on that. And so, I know personally, I like good songs. I like good songwriting.
So I'm gonna close the chapter on the Fender Champ 25. The difference between an SE model and the non-SE model is that the SE included a headphone jack and a channel reverb foot switch. The effects in and out and the line out jacks were on the front panel of the SE model only. So it's the same amplifier, cosmetically it's different. I just had to put that to bed because I wasn't finding a schematic for non-SE. Anyway,
So Matt wants to know Mike's bowl cut. What up with that?
I told him he should have shaved a little higher. He would have had a starter mohawk.
Yeah, I feel like I need to like put a little gel or whatever in this. It's looking a little funky on the. I gotta admit it. I see myself in the thing here, and it does look looking a little weird. So yeah, maybe I should just do a straight up mohawk.
What was the original question about the? Yeah, okay. So I guess there wasn't.
Adam made a good point. Less is always more, no matter the instrument. Couldn't agree more.
So.
That's a good point about Miles Davis. I was about to put Capra on my shoulder, but he ran away.
To me, like.
Fillmore.
With the shredder guitar guys, and I guess to cap my perspective on that, it's like, it's totally fucking useless. Who gives a flying fuck if you can sweep pick for 35 minutes and dive bomb over a backing track? You know, I've played with guys like that before. You sit down as the drummer and try to jam with somebody like that, it fucking goes no place. Because they don't know the first thing about a riff structure. About writing a fucking, you know, I used to record a band like that. You know, and it was like, they would play these, I was their sound guy too, and they would play these shows, and like, you know, people would come out, and the guitar player was just constantly at it, you know, and people got bored, and they would fucking leave, and he's like, I don't understand why people are leaving. It's because, like, you don't write hooks, you don't have rock progressions, you don't have shit that people get into, you just have, and it's cool, but like, you know, it's not the right thing.
Yeah. It comes out the taste, like what people are saying.
The only people who really appreciate all that noodle and shit are other people who either play like that or wish they could. The general public doesn't give a fuck about that.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, I'm not saying that it makes those people any less talented than they are. Obviously, like, your fingers are, you know, your manual dexterity is quite incredible to be able to play that way. But
yeah,
in general, it's fairly useless unless you're going to go be Joe Satriani or Eddie Van Halen or somebody who can just go out on a stage and go, you know, for a whole night. I mean, it just functionally, what is it that you mean to do with that?
Mm-hmm.
You have a skill and a proficiency that is basically, unless you're going to be a solo performer, very difficult to market.
Or unless you're going to hook up with somebody who's a great songwriter, and you can, you know, you have the taste to like not play crazy like that all the time.
Yeah.
Because like
I don't know. I don't understand the style personally. It doesn't appeal to me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get it either. But like I appreciate somebody like I've never listened to his solo stuff, but like Nils Klein from Wilco, right? Like I feel like he's sort of like a jazz guitarist. Not sort of. He is a jazz guitarist, but then you have Jeff Tweedy who writes like very really good songs, you know, and he has like this perfect band of all these guys now, I think, but like, you know, Nels Klein just comes through and is able to like riff and write riffs in the structure of those like great songs that Jeff Tweedy's writing, and it works really well. So I mean, in that case, like, I don't know. I guess it just comes down to like your taste and like I don't know, what's the quote, like the music is like the silence between the notes. Yeah.
Well, I actually think I mean, music is the thing.
Because I think that's like the hardest thing for people sometimes is like
emotion is the space between the notes, I would say. That's what makes it emotive, the use of space or negative space or whatever, but you know, there's tons of those people around, even locally, and it's just like,
yeah. Well,
it's
I mean, I
fucking
think
exhausting.
I think personally, I could use more knowledge about scales and like practicing scales and things like that. I think it would help me become a better songwriter. But you know, for just like
would it?
Guitar wankery for the sake of wankery.
Would it? Really?
I don't know. I really don't know, man. I've always just been more of somebody who feels things out, you know.
The most important thing about playing that instrument, once you can hold it and move around on it proficiently, is using your ears.
Right.
That's it.
I'm wondering. I feel like where did all that stuff start? With like it must have been like all the '70s guys, right? Like I feel like because some people use like Jimi Hendrix as an example. It's like, yeah, the guy could.
Yeah, but he wasn't a wank shredder. I mean.
No, but he knew how to write like a fucking riff. But I feel like I've heard people who are like those, like wankers, guitar wankers, look up to somebody like Jimi Hendrix and like, well, like Hendrix, like shredded, and it's like, well, no, I mean he did, but he knew how to write like a fucking song.
Yeah, he didn't shred like that anyway. It wasn't sweep picks and finger taps and all kinds of fucking.
It's kind of like modern shit, yeah.
Yeah, that's all.
But I feel like that's where
recent.
you can start to trace back people's influence to. I would assume, like, who was really doing stuff before that? I don't know. Mahavishnu Orchestra, like I don't know.
I will say, you know, when it comes to the scales and things, like, it can be fairly important to understand at least something about the modes and things. You know, and or at least how like pentatonic scales and things like that work. I don't think it's imperative, but it can be important, and it can make the map of the fretboard easier to read. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, Jason's saying he's never learned a scale in his life. Backwoods said shredded blues sounds cool. I agree. That's definitely a style of music where you kind of need to know a blues scale in order to shred. But you can also feel it out.
I mean, it's sort of like.
It's what you don't play. There you go, Adam. That's good.
But you also have to remember that if you play within the confines of a scale, you might miss the cool notes anyway. You know, listen to like Dinosaur Jr. shit. Like he'll start ripping a fucking lead that's like in the wrong scale to the key that he's playing in.
Well, it's like Neil Young too, yeah.
Neil Young just does it because he sucks. But Mascis always did it because he would work his way through whatever that scale was and end up back in key with the song as he progressed through the lead. You know, and he talks about shit like that in interviews too.
He's a good example too, because like he's somebody who obviously has a lot of technical proficiency, but at the same time writes cool songs.
I'm betting he probably couldn't really explain to you what it is that he plays.
Right. Okay.
Not from a technical standpoint. I don't get that impression anyway.
No, I can see that. I don't know. We'd have to ask the guy. I know, like Neil Young.
Should have asked him. Should have,
dude. Like in terms of like Neil Young, I've heard interviews where he was just like, yeah, like he doesn't know any scales, and he's. I mean, I could be wrong, but I could have sworn it was like he just feels it out, whatever he thinks it feels like it should sound like.
And a lot of times it's not about the notes at all, and it's not about the negative space. The emotion comes from the way that you play it. You know, like think about things that Neil Young plays.
It's like pizza, man. It's like everybody makes it different.
So use Neil Young as an example. Think about some of the things that he plays. When he grabs the notes, they're like, oh Jesus, I can't even believe you went there. But the way that he's picking that, the ferocity of the attack on those notes, you know, plus he looks like a pissed off jack-o'-lantern scarecrow while he's doing it. So you got this guy that's like just tearing the shit out of that Gibson, you know, and it's like, yeah, man, fuck yeah. Even though those notes are like, you know.
Yeah.
I don't even know. They left the fucking building. They're not even in left field anymore. They're outside the stadium in the parking lot somewhere drinking beer. What?
Oh, Mike Campbell from Tom Petty. Nice.
But I think like.
Oh, that's cool.
I think with a lot of that shit though, writing leads, like if you're gonna write leads, then you actually have to sit down and work through those and make them interesting. If you're gonna do like the things that I do, then you sort of earmark places on the fretboard where things could happen, and you hope you land there. That's it.
Oh, so some of the guys are talking about singing along with
yeah, for sure.
Solos. I totally. I heard this Song Exploder podcast with Weezer at one point. It's one of the it's on Song Exploder podcast, but I thought that was interesting because Rivers Cuomo was talking about that same thing. Like instead of writing a guitar solo, like sing a solo and then transcribe that to guitar, and the same thing with melodies. Yeah, because that's what makes it like, because like I mean you think about like Weezer stuff, like their guitar lines are like almost
vocal.
You like almost sing along with them, and that's like I feel like there's something really interesting about that idea.
But that's lead lines in a pop song anyway.
Right.
Smells Like Teen Spirit, prime example of that.
Well, the solo is literally the verse, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
It's the vocal melody.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a cool way to go about it. And he also said, you know, and then when it comes to vocals, try writing them as a guitar. Kind of switch the roles, and it makes for some interesting stuff. I gotta admit. All right, dude. Well, I gotta go fix my bowl cut. I think Jay's. We're gonna go have some more cheese or something. Have some more pizza. Thanks everybody for sticking with us. Once again, I apologize for the technical difficulties. I don't know what happened. I don't know why we had to start in a different stream.
Overall, this looks pretty good though. It's like
somehow
it's kind of like better. Softer than the phone was. I don't know if it's lighting wise or if it's just the pickup on that camera, but
yeah,
it has a softer quality.
Yeah, it might be time for the buzz cut. Yeah, definitely. It's almost like a different
Different
quality.
vibe,
I don't
man.
know how the audio is. We'll have to check out the
I mean,
playback. It seems like it's okay. Nobody said anything. Might be a little more echoey because we don't have the mic.
Yeah,
Oh, that's what I was going to ask
pretty
you.
much sounds good.
Do you have any USB audio interfaces kicking around? I know you have some of the Motu stuff.
No, the Motu is not USB.
Oh, okay.
The Motu runs a.
I think I might get like a USB mixer or like a small 2-channel for this computer. Just so then we could pipe stuff into it.
The Alesis Multi-Mix is a fairly inexpensive option if you don't mind the fact that you can't break it out into more than 2 tracks.
No, that would be cool. Yeah, the
So-
setups, I mean, we haven't had any sort of dropouts.
What tip you got there, David?
Do a mohawk? Alright. What's the tip? This will be our last,
When I buzzed mine, I was at the 5/16 shoe of my razor, which is either a number.
I used like a beard trimmer. I think that's
It's
why I
either
came
number
out
2 or
fucked
number
up.
3.
I think it needs to be like, I need to use like, I need to go back.
You can keep using old interfaces on Linux computers.
Huh.
That's interesting. Because the Linux will run any driver.
It's pretty cool. It's funny because I don't have any USB audio interfaces, and the computer audio is complete shit, man. The mic, the sound card in this thing, it's like.
The only one I have a. I'll have to see if I still have it. I used to have a Tascam 2-channel USB that was in the box. It came in on trade. I literally never tried it.
If you dig it out, let me know, man. I'll definitely buy it off
I'll
you.
check when I get home.
I need something for this, even just to like. I was thinking actually of using
That's interesting.
this stuff and then just piping it into that. Like getting a mix out of my UA stuff, and then when we do shit like this, or if I'm gonna do like. I'd like to do more videos about like mixing and stuff, but I need a way to get that onto this computer.
Why don't you find something that'll break you out from light pipe to USB then?
And just go,
Just go light. You have light pipe on your UA, don't you?
yeah.
So just run the light pipe outputs, mult it out to that computer.
So then I just need something that will accept light pipe, basically.
Basically, if you're gonna do it that way.
Or you're saying you can break it out to like a light pipe to USB?
Well, I'm sure they make boxes that will do that.
Yeah, I just need a way to get audio into this computer better. Because right now we're just literally using the camera and it works, but.
The sound card in with a mic sounds bad?
Yeah.
What'd you
It's
use?
bad. I just used the breakout cable, and then it's just that mic, the Beta 58. And like, it's not the mic, it's the physical sound card. It sounds like.
Is it built into the motherboard or is it an add-on?
Yeah, it's built in.
Yeah, so.
It sounds like shit. It sounds
Yeah.
like. Maybe it only sounds like shit because I know.
Wait. Mac DeMarco. Isn't that what this fucking pig is?
Yeah, he's also. Oh, who's that? He's hanging out back here. Got a special vid this week coming out. Stick around. This is Jason's pen and ink drawing or pencil drawing of Mac. Got a special vid coming out, so stick around.
All right, we're 9:40 now.
Oh shit! All right, we got a jet, boys. The Pepperoni
Yeah.
Playboy. Yo, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Definitely keep an eye on the channel for when we schedule the streams from now on. Yeah, this has been really fun, Jay. It's been good to catch up, good to chat with everybody. Yeah, make sure you do something you want to do today. You can email.
So you can still email him. You can still email me if you want to.
Oh wait, we don't have to get up to turn this off anymore.
Shit.
How cool is that? I can just go over here and hit stop.
That's random. Yeah. So yeah, hit those emails if you need something, and
We didn't drop a single frame. That's pretty cool.
Matt, make sure you remind me about that. You may have. I just got a Gmail. Yup. There we go. Okay.
Sweet.
So we'll catch you all. I guess next month.
Yeah. Maybe we'll go live sooner. I don't know.
I don't know.
Feeling up for it, man.
There's been a couple times where I thought about going live myself, and then like when I start getting things together to do it, I'm like, so then I don't do it. When I go work on things.
Yeah, there's a couple times I've been wanting to do, like with Brian, we went live, and I mean, we could just schedule them from now on. I think, you know, we just figured Wednesdays would definitely be our day to do it, but definitely last Wednesdays, I think, are is a good schedule for now.
Matt, I got your email. I'll open that after we get off the stream here, and probably get back to you tomorrow. Warren, send an email if you got questions about those kits too, and
Oh
the
yeah.
rest of you, I don't know, whatever. Drop emails if you need something, want to talk about something.
That's right, and Jason.
In our absence, in the vacancy, to fill the void.
Yeah. And you can always contact me on the channel through the vids or whatever. Just hit up comments or email me or whatever. And Jason was saying that the new second run of the Not So Alamo tapes are available. So if you missed the first ones, there'll be some more coming out soon. So.
Did I tell you that we're talking about vinyl?
No.
Yeah,
That's
we'll talk about that
sick.
after.
All right.
So, all right. Y'all have a good one. Do something you want to do each and every day. We'll see you, I don't know, a few weeks. And be safe out there.
Say goodbye. Bye, Mac.